Shelters by Jesus podcast. I'm Senior Pastor Richard Berry, and we're excited you're with us today. We're doing podcasts on the road right now. We have podcasts we'll travel. We'll go and speak at your churches or your organizations, and today we're actually at a camp. Wherever that you'd have us come, we'll come and speak. We'll do the podcast if you like it. If you've got a ministry that's reaching out and helping the hurting, we want to be there. We want to shine a light on them, and so everybody in America can find out what you're all doing. And there's a lot of operations going on that people aren't aware of, and we'd like to bring them out. So let us know if you'd like to have us come. You can call us at 207-474-8833. 207-474-8833. And also, if you want to see how you can support us for $9 a month, get somebody off the street, go to sheltersbyjesus.com. And you'll pick up our website, and everything is on there. My 4 books are on there. If you like them, give us your name and address on here. The price is $10 a free. And they're written by the dumb hick from Skowhegan, who happens to be me. They're written in Hickanese, so don't expect John Grisham or Stephen King. But they're all the stories about what's been going on, the miracles, the battles, everything. Over 15 years of stuff. So we'd love to put them in your hand as a ministry tool. If you'd like to have those, give us your name and address on here. Or call the office at 207-474-8833 and say, I'd like Pastor Mary's books, and we will get them out to you. So anyway, thank you for being with us today. We got a special guest with us. We are here at, I'm going to try and pronounce this right, Camp Mechawana.
Very good.
Is that right?
You did it perfect.
Thank you. We're at Camp Mechawana, which is a Christian camp.
Yes.
Right?
Run by the United Methodist Camp.
Run by
United Methodist Church.
United Methodist Church. And you are Coach Norm?
Toms.
Yep. And so, Coach, Pastor Edward Spencer, who's on our board, has told us all about you, and he's really excited about some of the ministry you guys do here. So I'd love to have you explain what you do and talk about the helping out with food and also with your allowing kids to come on scholarship and all that. I'd like to have people hear about that. That's pretty awesome. So yes. You're on.
So thank you for having us. So this is our 75th year of ministry.
Really?
We're going to celebrate our 75th year this year.
So what are you doing for celebration?
So in September, we're going to have I think it's September 10th, we're just going to invite everybody that's ever been involved in camp to come back for a special day of celebration. So we're really excited about that.
Well, I was involved in camp. Are you going to have food?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to get invited.
Okay. We will have food.
All right.
Pastor Ed may be even part of that food. Who knows?
Well, there you go.
So we've run this program for 75 years. It has changed and morphed over the years to fit needs, and some of the programs that we run camps from. Our youngest camper last year was 2, came with a mom-child camp, and our oldest camper was adult special needs camper who was 79. Wow. So the gamut of camp. We also do feeding programs here. That's
what Ed was telling me about. And what does that involve? What do you guys do?
So when the pandemic hit, within about 48 hours, a lot of the local schools around here kind of had to shut down their cafeterias.
Correct.
So within 48 hours, Mechawana, who's always been a part of the school food program in the summer, where we take what happens in the schools and do that here in the summer.
Because there's a lot of kids in the summer, they don't eat.
Right.
I know that around the country. People don't understand that, but a lot of them, they eat at school.
Yeah, they really rely on that program when the summer comes. So we became a pandemic emergency kitchen, and
cool.
In the next 6 months, we produced over 65,000 meals.
Excuse me?
Yeah, a group of 7 college kids stayed here, quarantined here for 5 months, and just turned out food. And then a group of volunteers, an army of volunteers, set up food stations in Monmouth, Winthrop, and we went up to Salem.
So were they cooked meals you delivered?
Yep, they were meals that we packed in the back of vans.
So prepared meals.
Prepared meals, bagged lunches.
Yeah.
and took them to different centers and set up in parking lots. The Monmouth town office was great, and they let us use their parking lot.
Cool.
Downtown Winthrop. We also went up to Salem to Economic Ministries up there, and and it was crazy. But we were there every single day, rain or shine, and handed out meals. So from that and when we didn't want to stop that program, it slowed down, obviously, when the schools came back in.
They had the meals at school.
Right.
So sure.
We were able to get a couple grants because technically that program was for only people under 18. So we were able to get a couple grants where it was anybody, didn't matter what age you were. So we were able to hand out meals to adults as well.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we felt so strongly about that ministry, and we'd made so many personal connections with families.
I bet you did.
That weren't really associated with camp at all, but because of this outreach program, we just got to know these people in our communities at a whole different level, and saw there was a huge need there. Yeah. And so we've continued to do an outreach food program in these local communities for these families.
So even after the COVID left, you guys,
yep,
you stayed in operation to a different extent.
To a different extent, but we knew, and we were also delivering to a few families that had real transportation issues, which is, in Maine.
We know. We deliver some food from us too. So
transportation is a huge issue in this state. I'm sure it is all across the country, and people don't take that into their consideration when they're developing these programs. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of programs think that these families can get to a point to get food.
So they set up and you ought to be able to get here because the food's here.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. So we know that that's not the case. So So some of us would make little rounds, and we'd go to the houses and do drop-offs.
That's awesome, Coach. That's fantastic.
So we've continued with that. And the scary part is, and I know you know that, is the people that we don't know about. Yeah. And the families that we don't know about.
Absolutely.
And there's lots of them. But you just keep working on it, and those families, a lot of times you become aware of them through different means.
So how do you get the food? Where does the food come from?
So a lot of our food we purchase through big, like Cisco or North Center or the major food things. But
so you're actually purchasing food. It's
but we also then we have people like Ed Spencer who find food. He's just amazing.
Isn't he something else?
Yeah, he's amazing at doing that. And so we do get donations, and because of generosity of Ed, and many churches have helped us.
Well, that's what churches should be doing.
Right.
Right. And I've been saying all along, in America right now, we have so many homeless and hurting and hungry. We got a lot of churches in America that aren't doing anything.
Right.
And that's a sad thing.
Right.
And what I'm finding, Coach, you may not find the same thing, but what we're finding is the biggest support is coming from the smallest churches.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're finding, seriously.
Yeah.
And I found out about you because I went over to Ed Spencer's. We did a podcast, actually did a double podcast, a couple of things on him. And we was talking about him supplying food to different places besides his own. He does Teen Challenge.
Yeah.
And he said, did you know they do that in Mechawana? And I said, I don't know anything about Mechawana. Mm-hmm. I don't live in Monmouth or Winthrop. I did speak at one of your things a long time ago. It was a or something.
Trace Diaz, which we're having this weekend.
Ed got me into that, so I spoke at that. But that's all I knew about you. I didn't know really, talking about the age, I didn't know anything about your camp. Yeah. But right now, folks like this right here, this is so desperately needed. We have guys come in and get from our pantry we box it up, and I've literally had parents, and this is no exaggeration, we give them a box of food, and during COVID, they dropped their knees and cried.
Yeah.
And they said, my kids are going to eat now because they said, we had nothing.
Right.
You know, it's hard to imagine. People don't think in America that that's going on, but it's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we need folks like your organization. I'm glad to hear your churches are pulling together.
Yeah, and I agree with you too with a small church, and I think sometimes small little churches can get discouraged because they're small and little, but they still have tremendous power.
Oh, my word.
And do tremendous work. And,
yes.
And sometimes some of the congregations get a lot of satisfaction knowing that because they're helping us, they know they're helping lots of other people.
And that's what we tell them about when we travel and speak and go, look, we know not every church can start a homeless shelter like we
Right.
do, all right? But every church can do something. Whatever that is, no matter how small you are,
Yeah.
just find out what it is that you can do. Like one thing is they can support us. We have a lot of small churches and people from small churches that support us because we don't get any grants. We don't get any tax. We get nothing from the government or the state or the town. It's all, we're 100% faith-based.
Yeah.
That's how we operate. And we've been doing it for 15 years that way. And so the need of these, like the helping here and what you're doing, and they're helping you, that is so necessary.
You're right.
It's incredible. And because of their pulling together, these little churches are doing more than the government's doing. The government's throwing a lot of money up. They ain't doing anything.
Right. Little churches know their communities too.
They do. And they have a heart for their community.
They live there and, they know their neighbors.
They do.
Right.
They do. And they know if there's a family going without food, and they'll pitch together and get something done.
And they're able to approach those families completely differently than you or I or anyone else.
Yeah, it's a friend coming to the doors. It's not like some stranger in a suit.
Right. Yeah.
It's a neighbor or somebody that goes to that little church, and he knows them, and they go to church and go, my neighbor hasn't got any food, and these little churches will pull together.
Yeah, I think one of the unique things that we can offer here too is we can provide a week of summer camp for kids from those families.
That's where I was going to go and ask you next, because Pastor Ed said something about you even do a scholarship program.
Yeah, so for 75 years when this camp was established, and it's all run by volunteers. We're one of the few camps left in the country that I know of that our entire counseling staff is volunteers. Our average age of our counselor is 48, and we have over 200 adults who volunteer every summer. But the other thing that we were established is that no child would ever be denied a week of
That's
camp
what Ed was telling me.
Financially.
So how do you work that?
It's all on, if you call up, we have an extremely simple application form, and we'll help you with it. I mean, it's extremely simple. Basically, we do it on faith that people are being honest, that they need financial help. Yeah. There's really no questions asked.
Well, that's how we operate with the food. People say, well, they'll call us up, what's the qualifications of food? And they go, are you hungry?
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing.
Yeah. So if they say, I have a little boy, a little girl who I really like to have the summer camp, and I just can't afford to do it, we say fill out the application and we'll take care of everything else.
That's awesome, man.
So, yeah, and we go to no ends that we've helped with transportation here if they need it.
Wow.
We have a lot of connections with social workers in the state that know us.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many phone calls I've gotten saying, Norm, I have this kid. He really needs a week of camp. We don't have any funds left. And I said, well, I'll get him here by Sunday at 1.
There you go.
So
praise God.
Yeah, so that's what we've always done that, and we'll always do that too. So and Maine is very strange. Is that you can literally have a millionaire living next to a person who doesn't have running water in the house.
We have that right in our own town.
Yeah, I mean
that's not unusual.
No, but I think it is unique to this state in a lot of ways. So we don't have millionaires coming to camp here, but we have families that are financially better off than
They
others.
can help somebody else.
Yeah,
And that's what we run into.
but what we've always found amazing is those kids could be bunk mates in the same cabin.
A rich kid and a poor kid.
Right. And you know what? It's because our cabins are so simple because we just allow them to bring just the basics to camp.
So you don't see flashy stuff coming.
Yeah. It's just it always amazes me how that community is formed.
Awesome. Now, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's your phone number here, Norm?
207-377-2924.
Awesome.
And
and what's your address?
Yeah, so our it's easy to get us on the internet. It's just Google Mechawana.
Okay. Spell Mechawana.
MECHUWANA.
Okay.
And you'll come right to us.
Okay.
We're the only Mechawanas.
Yeah, I never even heard the name.
Yeah.
Did you make that? Is there a lake Mechawana, or is that just? I heard
No.
You were on a lake.
So MECHU is Methodist Church. NA is Nature, and WA was nothing really.
Or just nothing, and just WA.
They
had to end it with something.
It sounded good.
There you go.
I don't know. I wasn't around. It was made in 1938, and I wasn't around then. So
okay, well, if it was 1800s, I'd say maybe it was an Indian chief was named after him or something. But anyway, so that's all they got to do is call the camp or go online to Mechawana.
Yep.
And prayerfully, when you Google it, mine actually found it. I actually Googled you.
Oh, yeah.
And John, he couldn't pronounce it, so he didn't get you. But
that's all right. Pronouncing, that's not important.
So we got it on there. And the age groups, you just kind of blew me when we started. You mentioned you have a camp for
we have
2-year-olds?
We have mom-child camps where moms can bring their children.
So the mothers stay at camp with the child?
Yeah, with the camp.
Well, the 2-year-old,
right.
You ain't going to want to babysit a 2-year-old.
No.
I don't want to babysit somebody's 2-year-old.
And those are half-week programs. We do have a grandparent camp, which we're bringing back next summer, where
grandparent camp?
Grandparents can bring their grandchildren to camp with them, too.
I might have to do that.
And we also have a day camp. So, but the majority of our campers are like maybe 3rd grade through 9th grade.
Yeah, that sounds like a normal age group for camp.
That's the kind of our.
Now you have an old poops camp. You said you had somebody in the 70s here.
Well, yes, we do. Well, the grandparent camp brings in some older people, and then we have a really, really cool program, very unique program. We have an adult special needs program, which it's 40 years. So adults with disabilities come here for a week, and that's amazing. A lot of those campers have been with us for 30 years, so we know them all. Reverend Dan Ames and Martha Ames are the deans of that camp. We call them deans, and they have just an amazing
So
staff.
they oversee it.
They oversee it.
Awesome.
And so that's a really cool week.
Well, okay. Well, we're winding down. I think we pretty much reached our limit on the time, but I want to thank Coach Norm for allowing us to come in and do this. This has been a pleasure, truly. And congratulations on the great work you're doing here. And prayerfully, some people watching this, you'll have some more campers or maybe some more volunteers to come on in. So, hey, look, if you got some free time this summer and you go, I wouldn't mind helping out at camp, get a hold of Coach Norm at Camp Mechawana here in Winthrop. It's in Winthrop, right?
Yes.
It's in Winthrop, Maine. And it's out in the boonies a little bit, but you'll get the address, you'll find it, and give him a shot. And if you already get his phone number, give him a call or check him on there. So anyway, if you want to come see us at Shelters by Jesus, again, we're at 12 McClellan Street in Skowhegan. Give us a call at 207-474-8833. We'd love to see you, and don't forget to subscribe and hit like, because that brings in money. So, until we see you again, y'all come back now here.